Hey guys, this video is going to be about what tools I bought within the first couple of weeks of me starting HVAC trade, doing install and stuff. So try to make it real quick, get it over with. So the first thing I bought was about a weekend. Well, actually, my first week I didn't have any tools. I started out with no tools. I had tools at the house, but I didn't really know what I was going to need when I started. So the first week I was kind of bumming tools off the guy that was helping me. And that probably is annoying to him. And it was annoying to me because I would be doing a job and then I'd have to come back and ask him, hey, can I use this tool? Can I use that tool? So I took it upon myself to get the tools that I thought was necessary. To begin with, the first big purchase I made, I went to Home Depot and they had a pretty good deal on Milwaukee fuel pack out. It came with an impact, it came with a hammer drill and a hacksaw and a sawzall, and also one of them rolling pack outs and a couple batteries. So the first thing is, this isn't going to be like a review, but I am going to go over the functions of the tool and stuff, and why I think they're really good tools. And the reason I went Milwaukee was because every guy that I work with has Milwaukee. We don't have Ryobi, we don't have DeWalt. Every guy that I work with at my company, they all recommended Milwaukee. So I went ahead and bit the bullet and got Milwaukee. I got Milwaukee fuel. Was told it lasts longer because it's brushless, so there's not as many moving parts inside the tool. With that pack out came this impact. This is the little 1/4 inch impact driver. It's really nifty, man. You use this pretty much on every job. It's got, I don't know the specs on it, but I know if you can see, the 1, 2, 3, and then the drill function. So the 1 I think is low speed, high torque, and then 2 is like lower or higher speed, a little bit of lower torque, and then 3 is high speed, low torque. I usually have mine set on 2. Seems to do the job pretty good. Never really used the drill function because I've got a hammer drill. Also, so this bit, this is the Malco bit. It's pretty cool. It's magnetic. It's got 1/4 and 5/16 nut driver on it. I use it every job I go to. And that's all you do. You don't have to worry about taking your bit out, even though it is easy, but still it's easier to do. Just do something like that. This drill, badass, man. Or this impact wrench, badass. I use it every job. Next one is the hammer drill. Here's the hammer drill. It's got a couple settings on it. So see there, it's got the hammer on it. Then you got your just normal drill, and then you got your torque settings if you're driving in something or whatever. And then it's got your speed settings. So low speed, high torque, high speed, low torque. This is just a masonry bit I got in a kit full of mollies and some 5/16 hex screws. A molly is just pretty much an anchor for drywall or an anchor for concrete or whatever. But yeah, just like any drill, it's got reverse, forward. Another good tool. I use it every job site. So the difference between the two is I use this to drive in because it's an impact driver. I use this to drive in all my screws. I use this to drill holes pretty much. Sometimes I'll drive in a screw or something with this, but I prefer to do it with this. I've got both drills. I might as well put both of them to use. And then that kit that I got also came with the Sawzall. Another badass tool. I don't use this as much. Actually, I haven't used this at all. I used it once at home to cut some wood. It's a really good drill. It's just sometimes it's really not applicable to what I'm doing. It's big, it's bulky, and a lot of times we're working in, you know, close quarters. So I haven't used this that much. I'm actually trying to sell it. So if you guys, you know, need a sawzall, hit me up in the comments and let me know, and I'll try to get it to you. Probably $100. The other tool that came in my kit, this was supposedly a free tool. It came as one of the bonus items or whatever in the pack out, was this little hacksaw. Now this saw, man, it's just badass. It's got what they call an ergonomic grip, and really it is. It's a one-hand saw. You don't even have to use the other hand. But if you do, you know, just boom, you got it cut. I use this pretty much at every job site too. It's not a fuel, but it is a very handy saw, and it's Milwaukee, so it'll still last forever. So those were the big purchases I made when I first started. I went to Home Depot, you know, opened up a Home Depot credit card and bought all that stuff. It was like $450, and it came with the pack out. It's like a rolling toolbox. It's really nice. I keep all my tools in there, well, all my power tools in there. So also, while I was at Home Depot, when I was looking for those tools, and it also came with 2 of the M18 5.0 batteries. This is like the middle level. They've got a 3.0 and then a 6.0. 3.0 is a little bit shorter, I guess. The 6.0 is longer and taller. I do want to get a 6.0 because you supposedly get more power, obviously more life. But I've got 3 of these now, and yeah, no problems with the batteries. But yeah, like I said, when I went to Home Depot, I also was looking for other tools that I thought I might use every day. So I went to the electrical aisle in Home Depot, and I found their Klein tools. This is a 6-in-1, so it's got your Phillips and your flat head, flat tip, whatever you want to call it. So that just comes in, slides out. Then you pull that out, flip it, and then it's got a smaller Phillips and a smaller flat tip. And also you can use this as a 5/16 nut driver. This is handy. I use this when I'm wiring up everything, like the disconnect and the whip, high and low voltage on the unit. So I use this. I do eventually want to get like a 9-in-1 or 11-in-1, because the only thing that this doesn't have is the 1/4-inch nut driver. It's just both of them is 5/16. Really good tool though. Also, I bought these extended nut drivers. So both Klein tools again. So I got 5/16 and 1/4-inch. I use these just as often as I use my 6-in-1, wiring up stuff and usually I use these to take the covers off of the unit, and in the disconnect there's a plastic cover before you get to the wiring that I use my 1/4-inch on. I also bought, don't judge me, this tool bag's not really organized right now, but I just got me a little Husky tote. You know, it's got all the stuff that I need. I do want to get a bigger tote. I think I'm a tool bag kind of guy. I'm not a backpack or a bucket. I think I'm going to stick to these totes. I had some tools at home that I eventually finally brought to work, because after getting a week or 2 of experience on the job, I realized, you know, what tools I'm gonna need. Now, I'm not saying all these tools are essential, but they do make your life a hell of a lot easier as an installer. So the tools I had at home just laying around, you know, I had your everyday Phillips. So this is a nice Phillips. It's an old school one. I want to say it's Klein. It doesn't say anywhere where, but I mean, it's almost identical to these to the Klein nut drivers. So I think it's Klein, but I'm not 100% sure. But this was just a screwdriver I had laying around. Same with this flathead. Screwdrivers, flathead, Phillips flatheads, you're gonna need them. So I had this this 3/8 nut driver laying around, and sometimes we do come across 3/8 nuts, and I just randomly had this in my toolbox at home that I brought, and I've used it once or twice on a job. Another thing I brought from home was a level. I like to make my stuff when I'm installing nice and neat. I like to make it level. I use this at every job. You need yourself a good level. This is Johnson. I think it's like Johnson Electric or whatever, but it says Johnson right there. So, but it's a nice little level. I might get a longer one of these days, but so far this is doing just fine. I bought, also when I was at Home Depot, I bought some snips, some aviation snips is what they're technically called. I bought some snips. I bought some red, so for your right hand, and then I bought some left for your left hand, or reds and greens. Now I also bought some straights. These are called straights or bulldogs, but they're Hvac. Hvac is a really good brand, but if you see the angles, see how they're kind of straightforward. They didn't really work for me, with ductwork and stuff. They were kind of hard. So when you're installing ductwork, you're going to have different runs coming off the trunk. 6-inch cylinder, 8-inch cylinder runs that are going to come off the trunk, and you're going to have to cut those. One of the guys that I work with had an old set of Midwestern reds and greens, and if you can see, the angle is much different. Yeah, see how that's a little bit more of I guess this is almost a straight angle, a straight 90, no, straight 180, and this is kind of, wait, would that be 190 or 180? I don't know, but anyways, you guys see the angle. These are much better. If you're gonna buy some snips, get one with a better angle like that. It just makes cutting, because if you look, the cut angle, you're going to be going in with this, you're going to be going in straight into the sheet metal as you're trying to cut. With this, your hand's out of the way, and that sheet metal just flows right under your hand. With this, my knuckles and stuff were getting beat up by the sheet metal. Another thing I bought was a hammer. Well, I didn't buy it, I had it laying around. A lot of HVAC guys, a lot of trades guys, man, they use everything as hammers. They use snips, they use channel locks as hammers. And I always thought that, I mean, no offense, I just, if you need a hammer, get a hammer. It's what it's for. I use this very often. A random tool that you don't need by any means. I got a square. I've used it a couple times. If you're creative, you don't need a square. You can use just like an ordinary straight edge, something like a piece of wood or sheet metal or whatever. But this just makes it easier. If you're creative, you don't need some of these tools. But it just makes your job easier. And I'm a pretty creative guy. I can come up with some stuff to use in place of certain tools that I don't have. But like I said, some of these tools just make your life easier and make you more efficient. Another tool I got was a crowbar, just your normal everyday crowbar. See, and then if you can see, I've just got just random needle nose pliers, regular pliers, dikes to cut your wire. I've got some shitty dikes. I've got like 2 pair of these. They're just, they're normal dikes that do the job. I'm eventually going to get some better dikes because they kind of suck. Let's see, you need some vice grip. This comes in handy. Sheet metal when you're kind of bending, or you know, if you just need to hold on to something real tight, you know, locks it in place. Channel locks. Did I already show you channel locks? Channel locks is right here. You know, those, I use those pretty often. Another tool would be PVC pipe cutters. This only goes up to like an inch, but you know, it's pretty nice to have, especially if you're doing a condensate drain with your CPVC and then your 3/4 PVC. This right here is, you can use a hacksaw or a sawzall, but this, I mean, does the same job, and it's a little bit lighter. And then you get, obviously, your tape measure. You're gonna need a tape measure. Another tool of the trade that you need, I didn't have, so I went out. Actually, a guy from work gave me this. It's a low profile tube cutters. This is just your rigid, you know, your little tube cutters, adjustable sides in and out and stuff to get. I would imagine this is a 1/4 inch to a inch and an eighth, so it'll fit pretty much any kind of copper tubing we're going to be cutting. I've got this low profile. This comes in handy like when you're down at the unit or when you're in close quarters. And then I had this laying around. It's just the same thing, just, you know, bigger. Another thing you're gonna need is your service wrench. It comes with your 1/4 inch, 3/16, 5/16, and 3/8 square fittings for your service valves. Service valve, so you can open up the valves and let your refrigerant flow, or close it off if you're taking out an old unit and you don't want oil all over the place. So these are for what I've been told is the older style valves. People call them king valves, but I've read that the word king, the phrase king valve, is overused because the king valve is actually a valve at the accumulator. So it's just a service valve. It's just got a different fitting. And this is for, this little attachment adapter is for the newer style service valves. So you need that. I've also got some bits, you know, just your normal bits. I've taken some of the bits out of here, and I've put them in a little pack out that I'm about to show you here in a little bit. And then here's your hole bits to make holes. This is something I have laying around. And then, so I recently just got this Milwaukee, just a little organizer toolbox or whatever. I recently got that because I work with a guy who carries around one, and it's kind of his like all-in-one box he takes to every job. He just, instead of running back and forth from the truck, he puts everything in there. You know, wire nuts, some PVC fittings, some copper fittings, some fuses, mollies, some bits. Like I've got a bunch of different bits in here. So the Milwaukee, this thing that I showed you came with a 5/16 and a 1/4 inch bit, nut driver, pretty much. So you got those. Those are pretty nifty. I haven't used them yet because I went ahead and bought, like in my Impact, I bought I bought a stubby Malco bit and then my long Malco bit, but this is 1/4 inch, 5/16, 1/4 inch. You know, just real quick, instead of having to take out your whole bit, you just take off that head. And I've got different masonry bits. You're going to need some wire strippers. These are shitty. I'm going to get some better ones, but they do the job. You don't, like I said, you don't necessarily need all these tools I'm telling you that you're going to use, because you can get creative. But this is one of them you're probably going to need. These are shitty, like I said, but I'm going to get some better ones. They get the job done. I'm fine with them. I just would like a better pair. Also a flashlight. So a lot of guys I work with use their phones as flashlights, and I just don't like pulling my phone in and out of my pocket. This is a tactical flashlight I had when I was a corrections officer, and it worked fine for what I'm doing now. Like I said, my little organizer's got wire nuts, a bunch of wire nuts. So yeah, like I said, oh, and also I bought this a couple weeks ago. It's my UEI meter. You're gonna need a meter because you don't want to get electrocuted. So before you start taking apart stuff, you're gonna want to check, make sure there's no power, so you don't get shocked. And then you're also going to need, like your B tank or your oxyacetylene tank. Those company provided for me. Company also provided me with a vacuum pump, a recovery machine. Pretty much everything HVAC related my company provided me with. I just had to buy hand tools or bring hand tools and buy some power tools that would help the job. So yeah, if you suggest anything for me or a newer HVAC installer that they need, go ahead and put it on the comments. If you think that some of these tools that I use, I don't need them, let me know. I mean, I could use any insight I can get. So, but hell yeah, guys, have a good night. Drink some beer, and I'll probably see you next week or something. Well, I won't see you, you'll see me. Maybe all three of you. Have a good one.